Have you heard about this superfood, so-called superfood coconut oil, and what it can do for your brain and for your memory? Well, my name is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com, and this video is for you if you're skeptical about that, if you want to know what coconut oil has to do with improving your memory, if it has anything to do with improving your memory at all. If you'd like to discover the rich history of coconut oil, or at least some of it, we're going to pick up a few points that are interesting. If you want to keep your mind sharp and potentially combat Alzheimer's and dementia, and you're interested in the truly best substance you can use to boost your memory fast. That's coming up in this video. Just as a proviso, I'm not a medical doctor or a health professional, just someone who's interested and likes to present certain research, so don't take this as medical advice in any sense. So if that sounds like a good deal to you and you're ready, hit that thumbs up and let's go. So in terms of history, I don't want to throw too much at you, but I think it's very important to think of history whenever we can, because it gives us the sense of time and lets us frame things in the form of a story. So we're going to pick up some of that. And really, I don't want to gloss over too much. So there is a podcast version of this and a blog post version of this, so you can go into this further by clicking the link below if you're interested. And really, it starts quite simply with the settlers in tropical countries who used all parts of the coconut tree, at least as I understand from what I've read. And, when you're using all parts of a plant, you might notice that some oil comes out, and then you might use that oil as well. And so, bang presto, coconut oil. Now, in terms of the medical history, I'm going to gloss over a fair amount of it, but in the 1950s, physiologist Ansel Keys discovered that hydrogenated oils had saturated fat, which at the time was held responsible for heart disease. And then there was the discovery of medium-chain triglycerides, or MCT, and so a connection arose between coconut oil and ketones. And I put that question mark there because we want to think, is there such a connection? I ultimately don't know. I don't have the concluding answer, but it led to a lot of speculation. Could coconut oil cure Alzheimer's because of some of the things that have come out around ketones and so forth? So a book came out by Mary T. Newport called Alzheimer's Disease: What If There Was a Cure? And on the podcast version and the blog post version of this, I show a spike in internet traffic around this time. I visualized it for you, and it's quite interesting to see just like how this story broke and just drew so much interest around the world. So definitely click the link below to visit that, just to see that spike in traffic, because it is interesting how information spreads and why we pay attention to information through the viral nature of information these days. So it's quite fascinating. But Dr. Newport's positive experiences with coconut oil treatment was a ray of hope for families with Alzheimer's patients. And it is quite interesting because families wanting a miracle cure will grasp anything that even remotely suggests a cure. And I know that for myself because of my history with arthritis, and I went to coconut oil hoping that it would help for that as well. And I still actually consume it, and I made a video that you can watch where I show how my wife and I use it to make chocolate pancakes that are on the paleo side of the spectrum, so to speak. And you might find that something interesting to taste if you have the kind of arthritis that I have and so forth. But really, the real connection between coconut oil and memory in the best science that I've found from Dr. David Morgan is that there's really only anecdotal information that shows it can be beneficial, but there's ultimately not enough research on the matter. Now, this is the classical problem where people will say, well, it is true because it's true for me, and they're just not doing enough research because the corporations and the conspiracy science and yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to say yes or no on any of that. Certainly, the human imagination likes its conspiracies, and some of those conspiracies do turn out to be true. I don't know, but at the end of the day, what I do know is that you've got to understand that you are you, and you have a particular profile, and your diet needs to be cross-indexed against you at the end of the day. So, one person gets benefits from it, the other doesn't, and no scientific study in the world is going to overcome N=1 approaches to diet. So, make sure you know what an elimination diet is if you have food issues. Make sure you know what a rotation diet is. Give those things a try, but see your doctor first, because that is important. And this is not medical advice, just things that I've done, and I've had great benefit from it. And so, yeah, that's what I have to say. Not a doctor, but definitely give these things a good study. Now, unfortunately, what I've read is that the effects of MCT supplements are only short term, and I think that I've experienced that myself. And really, you need to be wary of the dark side of coconut oil. So, for example, there are patients who took MCT supplements. They reported cases of diarrhea, flatulence, and dyspepsia, and I can certainly concur to one or two of these things, not in any chronic sense that has deterred me from it, and not even totally able to pin it on coconut oil, although I have done elimination diets and rotation diets with a mind to seeing how this improves my memory as well. And basically what I can tell you is that anything that causes suffering or that causes illness of any kind interrupts your memory. It just does, because you cannot pay proper attention when you're suffering physical pain or even psychological pain for that matter. So if something is causing you physical distress, then that's the thing that you ultimately want to get rid of first, because it's the thing that causes you to not pay attention to information fully and completely, and all the memory techniques in the world will be useful, but not nearly as helpful as they can be when you're pain-free. So basically, there's a study with the very unsexy title of Dietary Fatty Acids Directly Impact Central Nervous System Autoimmunity via the Small Intestine. And the conclusion here is that lauric acid, which usually makes up 50% or more of coconut oil, tips the balance of T cells, which are immune cells that actively participate in the immune response towards the production of inflammation, and also in mouse models exacerbates multiple sclerosis, in which your immune system attacks the protective sheath that covers nerve fibers and causes communication problems between your brain and the rest of your body. So that is something to keep in mind. And I know from my own studies in the context of the psoriasis arthritis that I have, that yes, coconut oil is definitely an inflammatory for me, but it might not be for you. So, you've got to figure those things out for yourself. What are the real ingredients to enhance your memory, your concentration, and your focus? Well, it's what I've already hinted at. You need to figure out you and your situation and what your dietary needs are in your context, and also focus on, in addition to a balanced diet, things like meditation, things like sleep. And, there's an even more nourishing way to help build your memory cells while you're taking care of your fitness also and your hydration, making sure you have enough water. And that's to create memory palaces. I highly recommend that you do so using the magnetic memory method, because this is a very special way of getting parts of your brain involved in the process of having a greater memory, and also maybe remembering to eat the foods that are going to reduce pain from your body, and remember your commitment and your goals to do that. And a memory palace is a great way of doing that. So it relies on spatial memory, which unlocks the power of multiple levels of memory, which include autobiographical memory, episodic memory, semantic memory, procedural memory, and much, much more. And I promise you that none of this will give you flatulence. I mean, it's never happened to me anyway. But it also helps you move information into long-term memory faster and with predictable and reliable permanence, and that's what we want. So ultimately, I'm talking about building your memory not with any food or any substance like coconut oil, but with vitamin M. And vitamin M really comes from creating memory palaces. And, it's a wonderful art and practice that has gone back into history for thousands of years. It's just amazing what it can do, and people are still coming up with new variations on the technique to this day. And, Nelson Dulles, he's a great, great memory champion. He's the founder and CEO of Climb for Memory. He's a firm believer that exercising the brain daily can help keep the mind sharp and delay or even prevent Alzheimer's disease. And, we don't know that much enough about it. I've had Nelson on the Magnetic Memory Method podcast twice, and he's actually guest hosted it one of those times. I've had Dr. Gary Small on there, and good scientists will tell you, ultimately, we just don't know enough yet. We don't have enough data yet, but it's a real good bet that if you exercise your brain and you have a proper diet and you understand yourself in the dietary situation, you're going to do a lot better because of taking that extra step to explore where you fit into the mix. And then making sure that you're not just exercising your body, but you're also exercising your brain, because your brain is part of your body. You're going to do so much better and have great results. And you don't have to memorize a bunch of decks of cards, although that is a great thing to do, and it will really give yourself a boost. But you can just memorize information that's important to you that will immediately improve your life, like the dates of all your loved ones, for example, or foreign language vocabulary and phrases, and so on. There's so many things that just have an instant boost to your quality of life if you memorize them. And an effective and dedicated memory strategy is how you get that. I recommend the magnetic memory method. It will improve not just your memory, but your entire life at any age. And there's really one simple way to get started, and I'd like to give you an unfair advantage with that with a free course. All you have to do is go to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT, and you will get some worksheets, you'll get some videos that will take you through the process of creating memory palaces and using them effectively, and then directing them towards particular learning goals so you get the most out of them. So in sum, what do I think about coconut oil and memory? Well, I'm still using coconut oil as part of my diet. I do have these issues of psoriasis, arthritis. I have very limited amounts of things that I can eat in order to walk. So I'm still sticking with it, but very cautiously. And I am aware of it being an irritant for me and an inflammatory in my particular situation. So limited doses, and really also as part of a rotation diet. And I don't really do elimination diets at the moment, but I do fast at least twice a week. You could say that I fast daily as well, because I try to let 4 hours pass after I wake up before that I eat. So I've extended my nightly fast before I break fast, which is where the word breakfast comes from. But I certainly also try to fast for 24 hours 2 times a week. And in case you're interested, Thursday and Sunday are those days. And it's amazing. And, some people say you can drink coffee while you're fasting, or tea or whatever. In my experience, that's not really fasting. Fasting is when you just have water. And some people would even say, oh, don't even have water. Well, I won't say that, because that's not good for your memory. So in any case, again, none of this is medical advice. I'd love for you, though, to give the advice that I can give, which is how to create well-formed memory palaces that allow you to avoid a lot of the issues that people have because they don't have correct memory palace training. And this will give you an advantage. It'll help you understand what your spatial memory is and all the other levels of your memory are, so that you're able to actually get results from memory training, and you'll be well equipped for all the other memory training out there in the world by having gone through this course. So that's at magneticmemorymethod.com/YT. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your attention. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts on coconut oil. And I look forward to hearing about your dietary experiences. And if you're interested in more, I also have a podcast and blog post version of this for you to enjoy, and I hope that you will avail yourself of that by following the links below, or links that have appeared on your screen if your device allows for that to happen. Thanks again. This is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com. Until we have a chance to speak again, keep yourself magnetic.